Hey friend, today I'm sharing 10 practical tips that'll help you elevate your editing skills and become a better editor. You know, with over 20 years of editing experience, I've learned a few things that can make a significant difference in your work. And it is these tips and strategies that I'm gonna be sharing with you today that have helped me grow as an editor, and I'm pretty confident that I will do the same for you. Make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I'm gonna be sharing with you a bonus tip that was inspired by a quote from a world famous sushi chef. All right, so tip number 1, master storytelling. Look, editing is more than, cutting clips together and, working in our favorite piece of software. It's important to understand the fundamentals of storytelling, things like, story structure, character development, emotional arcs, all those things, apply to, say, a feature film, a documentary, a commercial, a YouTube video. It's all the same. We're trying to tell a story. So, I recommend, picking up books, about storytelling. I'll link to some of my favorites in the video description below. You can take a course, workshop, read scripts, all these things. And one thing that you can certainly ask yourself when you start a project is, what story am I trying to tell? And then understand that every cut you make should serve that story. Tip number 2, analyze content. So instead of, say, for example, watching feature films or documentaries for entertainment purposes, watch them to learn, to analyze them, to break them down, to see how the editor, made certain transitions, used music, sound effects, take note of the rhythm and the pacing, right? And take those techniques and then apply them to your own projects. But the important thing here is to every once in a while, come at your, say, favorite content with this mindset, with this approach. And if you have to, for example, hit pause and rewind, watch things over and over, great. Again, it's just a different approach to really come at it and analyze it and break it down so you can learn and then use that for your own work. Tip number 3, seek feedback and embrace critique. So 2 very important things here. First of all, seeking the feedback, right? We need to get a fresh set of eyes on the stuff we're working on, right? Because sometimes, the editors, we can be on something for a long time. We don't even know at some point what we're doing, if it's working or not. So we need a different perspective on things. And also, though, the thing is that when we do receive that critique, to be, obviously open to it and to understand that it's nothing personal. People are just trying to help us out, or people just are saying how they feel, how they're reacting to the things that we are doing. And so that's so important because sometimes, we need to actually test things out. Is this joke working? Is this action scene working or whatnot, right? And see how people react. That's why I encourage my students to share their projects, right? Clips of scenes or of feature films, short films, documentaries, whatever they're creating, to share that in our group coaching calls, right? So we can provide that feedback. It's a safe space to give feedback. And so the students can say, how everyone else is reacting, what's working maybe and what isn't. Tip number 4 is kind of related to the previous tip. And this one's about shadowing other editors. This is, I gotta say, my favorite way to learn is by watching other people say how they do things, right? As I say, how the sausage is made. So if you can get access, say, to people, other editors, right? Whether it be mentors, friends, even just someone that'll give you an opportunity, an editor will give you an opportunity to come in for a day, whether it be at an office or remotely, to just watch them, see how they work and why they make certain decisions, right? But literally just sitting there and watching how they approach a certain project. You will get to learn so much. And also being able to ask questions, right? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And all these things, having these conversations, it's great. And again, going back to how I work with my students, in our group coaching calls, I often will be in there, breaking down certain projects or scenes that I've edited, right? To show why I made certain decisions, why I picked certain music, why I cut when I did or when I didn't, right? How I overcame certain challenges, how I collaborated with directors and producers. And so I show them how it was made and also give them an opportunity to ask questions, right? On the spot about the stuff that I did. There's nothing better than, getting that behind the scenes look at how a project was edited. Another thing that I'll say is that if you are, an assistant editor, right, and you have access to your editor's cut, your sequences, right, and paying attention to like the changes over time, right, you can see literally, you don't have to be in the same room. Just opening up these sequences and seeing the different versions and why things were made and why certain changes were made, and seeing that those cuts, the sequences evolve is just pure gold right there, right? So if you do have that opportunity, definitely take advantage of that. Tip number 5: develop a strong sense of timing and rhythm. Look, editing is about timing, pacing, rhythm. So practice, say editing something that's more fast paced, with music, and then practice something that's a little bit slower, right? Sitting on shots longer and try both, right? Practice over and over, and so kind of start knowing when to cut and or when not to, right? When to sit on shots longer. It really is a feeling, I believe. I'm big into music. I've played in bands. I'm not gonna say I'm a musician, but I play the drums and a little bit of guitar and whatnot, and that has certainly helped me develop a better sense of rhythm and pacing, right? I mean, I also, for example, like when I'm working on a scene or whatnot, or a sequence of scenes, like I'm typically like tapping my foot to just kind of get a sense of the rhythm. So again, I'm not saying you have to go out there and become a master at the guitar or anything, right? But I'm just saying that it's even those things, say like maybe like listening to music, right? Will help maybe develop a sense of rhythm. I know, for example, and again, a lot of editors who are drummers, right? I know editors that have like a dance background. So, that helps a lot. Oh, by the way, it's summer and of course it's freaking hot. And so now the camera is overheating. So I had to bring the fan closer to it. My apologies if I was not able to completely eliminate the noise. All right, so let's hurry up before this thing catches on fire. So tip number 6, experience life beyond editing, beyond the cutting room. Get outside, have experiences, talk to people, have conversations, really listen to what people have to say, hear their stories, right? Travel. I encourage traveling. I love to travel, right? I just learned so much about life, about people, about cultures. And so that really helps me, inspires me then when I come back to the cutting room and start working on a project. I think, for example, like having conversations with people really helps me picking performances, right? I don't know. I think it just become a bit more sensitive to like human emotions. And so that helps me, again, when I'm working with performances, when I'm crafting a story, everything that I experience outside the cutting room certainly helps just me become a better editor, become a better storyteller. So again, it's just good. It's important more than anything is to just get outside, right? To just not be stuck here in the cutting room. Now that a lot of us are working remotely, is to not just be sitting here like inside the apartment, right? Remind yourself just to get out. And not just simply get out, although that's good, just to like say, go for a walk, but like, hang out with people, have conversations, meet new people, right? Have these experiences, take a trip, big or small, whatever it is, that'll certainly help you just become a better editor. Tip number 7 is about finding inspiration in the arts. So, for example, I know we love, film and television, right? But it's important to try other things. I mean, immerse ourselves, say, in music, in theater, paintings, photography. I love photography, right? It's a good way to keep the creative juices flowing, to just, maybe find new ways to do things, find inspiration, say, for our editing projects. For example, I like to go out, every so often to just like take pictures, right? I love? I love breakdowns of songs, like famous songs. Like, I like to hear artists, talk about, say, what inspired them to write a song, then how they recorded it, and then how it was produced. Like the kind of behind the scenes look at the creation of a song, like really inspires me to try new things, say, when I'm editing. Tip number 8, organize your workflow. Yeah, so look, it's important to be an organized editor, have an organized project. I believe it just allows you, for example, to focus on, say, story and staying creative versus like stressing out and, trying to find things, right? I mean, to me, organization is key. I cannot stand like being stressed out when I can, like, say, find things or like navigate a project, right? Because now that I'm putting that energy into that. And so as an editor, I think it's important that we put our energy into the story, into our creativity. And, having an organized project will just facilitate that. Keeping it tidy and clean, right? So we can easily navigate it and put an emphasis on crafting the best story possible. Tip number 9, learn keyboard shortcuts. And I gotta say, this was a game changer for me because for a long time, say earlier in my career, I refused to use keyboard shortcuts for whatever reason. But then when I started using them, wow, I mean, I just became so much faster. And that's the thing, speed, plays a huge part in becoming, say, a better editor, just being fast. That is important because oftentimes you're gonna be working with clients in the same room, directors or producers, and of course you got the deadlines to meet. So you gotta be fast, right? And this is a good way to just become faster is having being comfortable, say, with keyboard shortcuts. I use both a gaming mouse and keyboard because it has all these buttons where I can program so many shortcuts. I even use a Wacom tablet as well. That in itself has more buttons, extra buttons. So I have a bunch of keyboard shortcuts, and now, it just becomes muscle memory. I'm just, now I've been doing it for so long now that, it's easy for me. I know where all my shortcuts are at, but that in itself, honestly, I gotta say, was a game changer. All right, we made it to tip number 10, and this is just good old classic advice, and that is practice makes perfect. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the hours, as they say. And just keep doing it over and over. You're only gonna get better, right? And so with like editing, it's also a good way to try new things, right? To stay creative, to experiment, explore, right? And also stay up to date with technology. I mean, like I'm constantly learning new things about tech, about NLEs, about editing software. And the best way to do that is actually to use it, right? To edit and whatever it is, right? But again, you gotta commit to it, right? And again, just do it over and over. You're only gonna get better. Now, as promised, here's a bonus tip that was inspired by a quote from a world famous sushi chef by the name of Jiro Ono. He said, "I do the same thing over and over, improving it bit by bit. There's always a yearning to achieve more." And this quote resonates deeply with me as an editor because editing is like mastering any craft. It requires repetition, refinement, and a constant desire to improve. Every project is an opportunity for you to get better, to hone your skills, and to push the boundaries of what you can do. So let this mindset drive you to keep learning and evolving as an editor. All right, so if you found these tips helpful, please support the Hollywood Editing Mentor program by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. It will certainly help get the word out about Hollywood Editing Mentor. And look, I'm on a mission to make this the ultimate learning resource for the post-production community around the world. And I can only do that with your support, so I certainly will appreciate it. Also, let me know if you have any tips to become a better editor by sharing those in the comments below. And do check out all my other resources on my website, like my free masterclass, my free guides, and also if you want more information on the All Access Pass to the Hollywood Editing Mentor community, you can find those links in the video description below. All right, my friend, I'll see you in the next video.